Alright, what else do we have? First memorial accident? Despite the gravity of the incident, the media provided little coverage on what became known as the Nanjing HP4 incident. However, this appears to be the first proven case of a large-scale memorial accident, demonstrating that, contrary to what the official statements from Memrise would have us believe, sensing technology is far from safe. The authorities have vehemently denied the extent of the risk to the population posed by the artifacts of digital memory. The power of the Shenzhen in the economy is now clearly so great that any minor criticisms are ignored by our leaders and the news channels, except when they are dismissed with cynical contempt. The Nanjing HP4 incident is evidence of this policy of silence and treacherous compromise. Towards the end of the 2070s, independent observers reported a serious memorial accident in China in the town of Nanjing. Nanjing is a pretty big city, by the way, it's not a town. It is still difficult to ascertain the precise date of this dramatic incident, but the catastrophe resulted in a copy of the memory bank of the Psychiatric Hospital No. 4 in the Nanjing suburbs being released into a civilian memory bank. No field studies have yet been carried out to our knowledge, but an estimated 190,000 citizens were contaminated by pathological memories. The local authorities implemented an emergency wiping program, which was supposed to have cured 97% of the victims. This glib estimate is unconvincing, as confirmed by the sharp rise in suicides and crimes recorded in the region. Alright, so a memory bank from a psychiatric hospital was mixed into a civilian memory bank, so a lot of people just got crazy. We would probably have never been reminded of this tragedy were it not for the serious health consequences visible throughout the town of Nanjing and the number of victims, which made any attempt at a cover-up impossible. When questioned, the Memrise officials blamed the accident on the improper use of the memory-saving technology by a Chinese company that didn't own a legal license to operate large-scale memory copying. The Memrise press release stated the appalling consequences of a technological deterioration, and used the opportunity to reassure users that its source products were completely safe. What the Nanjing HP4 case does prove is that catastrophic memory accidents are possible. Despite their reassuring press releases, Memrise is risking the mental health of the global population in ways that could have terrible consequences for us all. Contrary to what the company would like us to believe, Memrise is not a philanthropic enterprise, but an extremely powerful multinational that has the most extensive and insidious intel on data mining and individual profiling imaginable. It is now time to remember. Yeah, you're just giving this company all your memories. Why do people implant this thing in their brains in the first place? I don't see it helping anyone. I mean, conceivably, you can just input knowledge into your brain, right? I mean, conceivably, you can just become an instant expert at something by implanting like an expert's memory. Like if you want to know calculus, just get a math teacher, copy his memories, and then just put them into your brain, and then hey, you know calculus. So that's cool. But that sounds pretty cool actually. But we never see that in the game. We just see junkies. We just see people addicted to good memories. Like we don't actually see the benefits of this thing in action in the game at all, which is makes it kind of awkward. The first Sensen prototype 2059. In 2059, Charles Cartier-Wells experimented at Memrise with a next-generation direct neural interface prototype, the Sensation Engine, or Sensen. Or maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe the Cartier-Wells, that's what they're doing. They're just taking everyone's memories and putting all the best ones into their own brains. Maybe that's all the rich people, that's what they're doing. That sounds awesome. In spring 2059, the research team headed by Charles Cartier-Wells, son of the founder of Memrise, carried out a successful experiment with a thought-sharing prototype comprising 3 vital technological upgrades: connection by implant, no computer, a network of 20 directly connected individuals that could transmit, receive, and share their sensations direct, and the possibility of personalizing received mental perceptions. This experimental device was dubbed by its creator as the Sensation Engine, or Sensen. Oh, okay. So the memory sharing existed before the Sensen. It was just the Sensen was an implant that allowed it to work more efficiently. Although still in its experimental stage, the Sensen already offered significant advantages. The implant gave the user total autonomy. He could be mobile and permanently wired. The chip contained algorithms allowing transmission in network mode with no saturation or loss of signal. Plugging the chip directly into the spinal cord tissue increased the speed, quality, and power of the neural interface. People could therefore use the sensor to customize their perceptions and adjust their own settings, to remodel the sensations and information received by the brain in real time. Later, more sophisticated versions of the sensor would even develop this personalization feature based on the user's behavior, allowing the feature of the sensor and the wearer's personality to morph in harmony even if the wearer had not actively operated the personalization function. Launched commercially in 2016, the sensor was received enthusiastically by loyal clients of Memrise, but it would be a few years before the digitalization of the human memory could become a real social phenomenon. Alright, but according to what that says, the sensor has the ability to adjust your perceptions on the fly, which we have seen before, like when we go into the boss fight with Kid Christmas and with the Madame. Like, our perception of our environment changed, right? And then, or whenever we go into remix people's memories, we see their memories. So the information is being plugged directly into our brains. But that was also not by our choice. Like when we go into those arenas, like the last time we go into Madame's arena to fight her, that was her arena. It wasn't our choice to go there. And we didn't control what happened there, she did. So that really makes us vulnerable to their memory weapons. I mean, what would you want to call them except weapons? If they put you in an environment that is dangerous to you, then these sensations are dangerous. They're weapons, right? So these things, why do we have these things? Again, like why would we implant? Because they said that, you can transmit thoughts without implants. It's just that, with the implant you can do it wherever you are. But you can always just plug into a computer, apparently, and then do that to share memories. So I still don't understand why anyone would take the risk of implanting a sensor if it allows other people to mess you up like this. Like if you want to learn calculus, you can just kind of get the math teacher's memories and plug it into a computer, and then plug your head into a computer and download it, and then unplug and walk around, and you're not vulnerable to being attacked in this way. I still don't understand why everyone has one of these things on their necks, because you don't need them. And they make you so vulnerable to being attacked. VIPs. Edge? Did we read this? Yes, we have read this. We haven't read this. Kaori Sheridan, an architect of international renown, Kaori Sheridan is responsible for Phoenix, a massive reconstruction project for New Paris, a city badly damaged by the catastrophes and clashes it suffered during the 21st century. Born in 2046 in Osaka, Kaori Sheridan soon established herself as one of the greatest architects of her time. Right from her early works, she set out her vision of a global urban architecture that would not sacrifice aesthetic considerations. When rebuilding cities and megacities where whole districts had been devastated by civil wars and catastrophes during the first half of the 21st century, she retained the traditional architecture wherever possible, whereas most of her competitors favored a more pragmatic approach based on emergency reconstruction. So that explains the Neo-Paris we've seen so far, this mix of the historic buildings and the new buildings, because apparently Kaori likes to incorporate the old buildings into the new cityscapes. Invited by the Neo-Paris authorities to design a comprehensive reconstruction program for the city, Kaori Sheridan conceived the Phoenix project to be implemented over 30 years. Her emphasis on the long term attracted criticism from many refugee associations who accused her of systematically prioritizing wealthier districts, while the ghettos and insalubrious pockets like the notorious Slum 404 remained areas designated for the final phases of the program. This is a mock trial, said Sheridan in an interview on January 27, 2084 on the Perky Maggie show. I've never favored the more beautiful districts. They are beautiful because I rebuilt them. Alright, if you say so. Nilin, about 25 years old, Nilin is the most famous and secretive criminal in Neo Paris. There's not even a picture of her, she's just a question mark. Also, notice that she has no identity, so it doesn't spoil her history for the sake of because the plot is that we don't have our memories, right? So we can't tell you who Lilin is, otherwise we spoil the story. Now, almost nothing is known about the heiress known as Nilin. Even her date and place of birth are shrouded in mystery to such an extent that it is rumored she herself wiped any memories and information that would point to her true identity. However, it is fairly certain that she gained a solid reputation as a memory hunter before joining the errorist movement. Several testimonies from former memory criminals, including the notorious Kid Xmas, say she had a lucrative career as a memory thief in Slum 404 from 2078. She probably met Edge there, joined the errorist movement, and was one of their most active and deadly agents, until her arrest in spring 2084. Can I just say respected, said Kid Xmas. This chick really knows how to use a hunt glove. It's a shame she's wasting her talents on a futile cause. Alright, well, there you go. Nothing said about her. Madame, who wears a really strange outfit in a prison. Her position as governor of Le Bastille Fortress requires her to use the alias Madame, and she rules the prison with an iron fist. Her past may be shadowy, but her outstanding record has kept her at the top of a totally new type of penitentiary since her appointment in 2074. Although doubts may remain regarding her origins, Madame was born Astrid Voorhees in 2036 in Paris, abandoned as an orphan from the age 8. She grew up among the survivors of the Dark Years, an era torn apart by wars and natural disasters. She first appeared in the records of the brand new city, Neo Paris, around age 30, as one of the first volunteers to accept a Sensen terminal implantation to allow her to work in the municipality. She designed the Le Bastille penitentiary system herself and orders the temporary wiping of the memories of its inmates. This revolutionary idea is made possible by the omnipresent Sensen, which enables her to manage and control docile and nonviolent criminals. Relieved of the burden of their past, they resist the temptation to return to an outside world they no longer remember. Madame was appointed governor of Le Bastille when it was opened in 2074 and has achieved the impressive record of not a single escape attempt on her watch. But rumors have persisted that over the years regarding the prison's opaque management style, and evidence exists that although the memories of the prisoners are restored the day of their release, memories of their period of incarceration are wiped clean, an essential security measure, says Madame, to prevent any escape organized from outside. Her opponents declare this a flagrant violation of human rights that is unacceptable in a modern democracy like in Neo Paris. Some have even accused her of memory crimes against the prison population in the Bastille, but no eyewitness reports have ever been produced to support such accusations. Yes, memory crimes. And technology, Hunt Glove. Have we read this? I think we have. Remembrance? The remembrance is a technique used for the virtual projection of a digitized fragment of a memory using augmented reality. The memory is played at the same speed and scale in situ. Remembrance technology was first developed by the Sabre Force to reconstruct certain crime scenes by tapping into the memory of witnesses or suspects. The digital memory is converted into images projected directly into the user's Sensen in the form of a 3D reconstruction of the event, which is then played in front of their eyes. It was during the Gansberg affair the famous sculptor and his family were murdered in their residence in the New Belleville Comfortress that research began into the virtual projection of a memory. On the decision of the prosecutor and despite public protests from relatives and many religious leaders, the digitized memory of the 4 victims was input into the sensor to copy their last memories. Investigators in the case carried out a manipulated projection of the last moments of each victim in the house and were able to determine that the mother killed her children and husband before killing herself. Spurred on by this success, the criminal division of Saberforce decided to implement this technique systematically and developed a protocol that became known as the Remembrance. The latest versions of this program can now reproduce sound. Cases of the illegal use of remembrances have been reported outside the scope of judicial investigation but have never been substantiated or confirmed by an independent source. Great. AV-78 Horn of Jericho. The AV-78 Horn of Jericho, the flagship technology of Avram Laboratories, is a versatile and extremely robust public security robot routinely used by Saberforce agents for surveillance and law enforcement duties. In situations of serious public disorder, its tactical deployment may extend to riot control and crackdown operations. The AV-78 Horn of Jericho, more commonly known as Zorn, is a multi-function combat robot that was commissioned for public security and used to neutralize or eliminate hostile targets. As a surveillance device for law and order enforcement, the Zorn is distinguished by its strength, versatility, and high level of autonomy, with an ability to make decisions that make it a superb bodyguard, sentinel, or bounty hunter. The Zorn has a Zenson on its back. It's a human being. There's a human brain in there. Right? Because when we fight it, we overload it. Through its Zenson, it's got a Zenson. It's a human. It's not a robot. The AV-78 was conceived and created to operate in densely populated urban areas to ensure the safety of both locations and people. Its attack techniques are therefore programmed to minimize the risk of collateral damage and injury to any citizens or passersby within its intervention radius. Its tactical programming is such that it favors one-to-one combat operations, and when deployed, the Zorn's solid armor allows close engagement with the target, allowing it to exploit its size and power to swiftly put any opponent out of action. Enforcers in the Saberforce often use AV-78s for site surveillance. Zorns are also useful in situations of civil unrest, particularly riots, terrorist threats, and major incidents. Although the AV-78 Horn of Jericho isn't a battlefield robot, it can prove extremely effective when deployed in sufficient numbers against heavily armed enemies, to counter serious threats or to carry out repressive measures deemed too sensitive or dangerous for humans. It's got a sensor on its back. It's a human brain. The valet robot, initially designed to provide personal services, valets are humanoid multitasking robots that can carry out site surveillance and maintain public safety. Developed by Avram Laboratories, this model was a perfect answer to the needs for personal security in urban environments. The first valet emerged from a robotics program applied to personal protection and automated security technologies. Its sleek design and physical proportions of an adult human with a serene face were selected for their psychological effect. The owner is reassured by the sense of calm emanating from the valet, and its resolute and assured bearing is likely to deter potential attackers. The main advantage of this machine is the relatively low cost of manufacture, which has led to mass production and the replacement of human agents by valets in many thankless patrol and guard duties, site surveillance, and access control. Designed for private use, these robots are programmed to never injure or attack humans under any circumstances. Haven't we been attacked by one? Anyway, they're low cost, relatively low cost of manufacture. Mass production. How can there possibly still be poor people if you can mass produce these robots? How is Neo Paris not completely rebuilt if you have cheap labor like this? It makes no sense. Two models were specifically developed for guard and public security duties. The AV-48S Seraphim flying models generally used for site surveillance, and the AV-48N Nephilim models for riot control and emergency situations. Unlike the standard models, these two products are authorized to use force against any individuals considered hostile. Alright, so we were attacked by the security bots, not by the valet. And that's the information so far. Should we look at the enemy information? What is this? Leapers, Enforcers, Strangler Leaper. Oh, this is the invisible ones. The Zom, Prison Enforcer basically just has more armor. Heavy Prison Enforcer has got a shield. Flying Robot, Ground Robot, Heavy Enforcer with a shield. Alright, pretty much the same kind of stuff. There's only 14 kinds of enemies. Okay, so there's the encyclopedia, and I believe I'm going to take a break here. When we come back, we are going to find the CEO of Memorize, I think, and mix her memories. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.